systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everybody? We are back talking some fights. UFC Fight Night in Serbia, and it is at 10 a.m. Eastern. Let me scroll up a little bit. I could zoom out, but you guys don't really care to see the top of here. We will just show all 14 fights. You were looking at the Stone. As always over here, MMA, the Stone. This is completely filled out, color-coded. Ownership, projections, everything, weigh-ins are in on Friday. We'd love to have you at the Nation, but we are talking 14 fights, 14 solid ones. I think a good DFS card. Fingers crossed we keep all 14. That is a phenomenal number, as 12 is the number that I'm always looking for. Throw it to you, Big Marley. I like some early fights. We got another one this week. It was 9 a.m. last week, 10 a.m. this week, and I got to shout out Poker for absolutely saving my ass because I was not going to get up if I was asleep in the morning. I was playing poker. It made me leave the game at 5 a.m. to rush home to get the teams in. But, hey, I didn't draw dead. I actually won a little bit of money. So, yeah, thank you for poker with the fight cancellation. Hey, if there's a fight cancellation this week, I mean, what was it? 15% of the field was dead last week. Now we get an hour later. Maybe it'd be like 7 or 8%. I don't know. I'm curious to hear your take in if that's the case. But, yeah, I guess anytime you have money in, you probably should be getting up, setting your alarm is the moral of the story. I got lucky. How did you go about it, and what are your thoughts for this week's card?
Yeah, I mean, I saw your update in the Discord, which made me know about it. I only had, I think, one lineup at the time anyways. I might have had Dulatov, and I just switched over to Timurov, so it made me not win. But, I mean, I wasn't really planning on even watching that card. I had a Saturday planned out, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go light. If I get lucky, I get lucky. This week, I don't know that I have plans, so I'm cool with the 10 a.m. fight card. Let me wake up, watch some fights. I do think if we had a cancellation, 10 o'clock will make it less dead lineups. I don't know about 10 even, maybe half of what we had last week, 5% even. But I'd be okay with that, especially on a 14 fight card. But I mean, hopefully we keep them all. I think there's a lot of unknown names again, which could work in our favor. And I got 3 5-star fights on this card. I think it was 0 last week. So
yeah,
bet.
Yeah, an absolute wild card. 3 5-stars. You have all of them in the all of them in the main card, which we'll get to. The first couple 2, 3, 2, 3, 3. So you can kind of already tell where Big Marley's going with this. He'll be hoping it's boring to start. A lot of finishes late. I'm just looking at our preliminary ownership right now here over at Chippin Nation. It's not up on the site, but only 2 fighters we have projected over 40% right now, and everyone else below 40%. Obviously, no one above 50. That is also things I love to see. I'm thinking it's a great DFS card. I'm thinking it should be a pretty solid real-life card as well. Fingers crossed we keep all 14. It should be good. We got YSN in here. We got Jordan. Great to see you both. Jordan, let me know if you actually are going to be in the MMA streets this week. That would I don't see you very often, so that'd be cool if you were, but appreciate you hanging out. All we ask from everyone out there, many watch on playback, but like button helps us out a ton. Subscribe button as well. Bringing you the show on Wednesday this week, and next week will also be on Wednesday. All right, no time to waste. 14 fights to talk about. First fight of the night. Stephanie Luciano minus 330. Marina Spasic plus 267. Plus 180 for this fight to finish. Luciano plus 200 inside the distance. Spasic plus 850. I mean, man, this line has moved since I even wrote this fight up 2 hours ago. So it was minus 315 on the money line. Now it's minus 330. It was plus 230 inside the distance for Luciano. Now it's plus 200. And the fight was plus 195 to finish, and now it's plus 180. So just in the past 2 hours since I wrote up this fight, Luciano and the under has taken money. And the first thing I look at is you see minus 330. I'm expecting 9,200, 9,300. She's only 8,900 this week. So there screams money line value to me. And then I see 5.2 significant strikes per minute, 1.3 takedowns per 15 as only a 26-year-old. I have a little bit of interest, and I don't think this fight will get too much ownership. So what are your thoughts on this one to kick it off?
Yeah, I don't have much interest. I think you can use either side as an ownership play. Spasic is just making her UFC debut because it's her home country. I doubt she would have got the call up had it not been in Serbia. But I just think Luciano, I don't think Spasic is bad. I thought she was okay. I just think that Luciano's better everywhere. I am kind of impressed with Luciano. She is a good striker. She's fast. She's got power too. And she spent so much time stuffing takedowns that she's kind of learned the ground game herself at this point. And I think she even has the grappling edge here. So Luciano, 8,900. I'm really not trying to pay $8,900 on this card, but she is a way to get different. I think she'll be sub 20% owned, possibly even around 15 or less percent. So I think she does make sense as a low-owned favorite who could, I don't know about dominate, but just clearly win all 3 rounds and maybe mix in some takedowns as well. Spasic on the other end, I mean, maybe she can be an okay cash game play, 7,300. You expect it to go all 3 rounds. If she can mix in a takedown or 2 herself, I think she could score 30 or 40 points even in a loss. But I do think in a win, she's going to flirt with 10x. I just don't see it happening. So I think I always want to get away from this fight. Hope Luciano does win and scores in the 70s, and I don't think that'll cut it. So this is, I think, my least favorite fight. If not, it's my second least favorite fight to target on the card. So if I wake up a little bit late, hopefully there's no cancellations, but I'm okay missing this fight.
Yeah, I'm definitely a little different than you. I probably at ownership will be overweight to this fight. Luciano, like I said, minus 330 for 8,900 is great. Add even, she's plus 200 inside the distance, which is taking money good. And now she's started to wrestle. Her last fight, she got 3 takedowns. She scored 93 DK points. I'll ask you, if I'm telling you Luciano Saturday scores 93 DK points, how much do you think you'd have of her?
Yeah, it would change my mind. I'd probably want to be at least 20%, so that'd put me overweight.
Yeah, because like you take 93 now, is it favored to be optimal on a 14 fight card? Probably not, but you're not drawing dead. So yeah, I'm fine with her again at ownership. I think she's a little interesting. The Spasic, she's a striker. If she can keep it on the feet and it's supposed to go the distance like we see, if she can land 100 significant strikes, we just saw last week, $7,300 fighter scored 36 DK points in a loss. And that 36 DK points was enough to be on the optimal. 5 winners, 1 loser. If we get that again, there's a good amount of big favorites on this card. If we get very few dogs like last week, we had Temerov and then that Saeed guy. If that's the case again this week, we could see Spasic have a chance to be optimal. I don't like it. She's going to be really low owned, though. There's plenty of other dogs that I like less than her, so I will have both sides of this fight to start. Luciano, my preferred play, and she's a way to get different. All right, let's roll to the next fight. I'm
going to change it to 4 stars to Luciano, 2 stars to Spasic. I do think she would be my preferred play of the 2.
Cool. I like it. I agree. Next fight on the card, first of the 2 heavyweight fights, Jovan Leka, minus 225, taking on Alexander Poppeck, minus 150, plus 150, or plus 115 inside the distance for Leka, plus 425 for Poppeck. Round 1 prop for Leka, plus 335. So this was originally supposed to be Leka versus Mac Jimenez. Out is Jimenez with an injury. In steps Poppeck, 21-5, 34 years old. Making his UFC debut, lost to Jamal Hill on Contender Series back in 2019. No shame in that, obviously, but the concern about him is like he's a natural 205er. Now he's coming up to heavyweight, taking on Leka, who tips the scales at 265. So Poppeck will have the speed advantage on the feet. I think it's relatively close there. If Leka gets on top, though, I'm worried that Poppeck will not be able to get up with that big frame of Leka. So what's your thoughts on this one, the first of 2 heavyweight fights?
Yeah, the size advantage is what's pushing me over to Leka. I think Poppeck is the better striker, the more dangerous looking striker, but he is taking this fight on short notice up at heavyweight against a true heavyweight. And he's just going to be at a real size disadvantage. And if Leka gets 1 takedown, I don't think Poppeck really doesn't have a ground game period. So I don't think he's going to have any get up game against a 265 pounder in Leka. Leka, I thought he was more of a striker. He's okay at striking. He's got some power. But in this matchup, specifically on short notice, I think he should look to wrestle. And he does have some pretty mean ground and pound. So for the Poppeck side, I think he's kind of a round 1 knockout or bust. If he gets it, he's on the optimal lineup. But if he doesn't, I think that takedowns are probably going to be there for Leka. And I think that the more takedowns that are there for Leka, the more Poppeck starts to slow down as the fight moves along. And maybe if it gets to the third round and he's been on his back for 2 rounds at that point, maybe he'll give up to a little ground and pound stoppage at that point. So I do like Leka. I don't know how much I want to get at 8,700. He doesn't look like a high-paced fighter, so I think you would really be relying on the finish, bonus points, or multiple takedowns and a lot of top control for him to score well. So not somebody I'm going to force into lineups, but I'm fine clicking his name because he's only $8,700, $900 cheaper than Rebecki. I'm cool with that.
100% there with you. And I do agree. I worry about the pace of this fight a little bit, but there is takedown upside. Now, I don't know how much takedown upside because I'm not expecting Poppeck to get up when he is taken down. So, yeah, I think more than likely he'll need a finish at 8,700 to have a chance at the optimal. And his round 1 prop, plus 335. That's 23%, which is relatively close to his ownership. So, and again, there's outs for him to get a second round finish and be optimal as well. So, I have some interest in Leka. I also have interest in Poppeck, though. 7,500, solid money line for his price. If he can keep it on the feet, he is very live to get a KO at any time. So I like it. I don't love it. That's how I see this fight. Going to the second highest priced fighter on the card and the second biggest favorite, we got Nina Milosevic taking on Hailey Cowan. This fight's minus 120 to finish. Nina plus 100 inside the distance. Cowan plus 900. This fight opened with Nina minus 400. Again, now she finds herself as minus 500. Open plus 110 inside the distance, now plus 100. Where the most line movement has come is Nina by submission. Open plus 285, now plus 200. So she's also plus 230 in round 1, I should mention. Yeah, the big discussion is she's 9,500. That's a big boy price tag. Big girl price tag, I guess I should say. $2 more. Or for 100 more, you get $2 in money line equity on the Rebecki side, who's minus 700. Also, Rebecki, a good bit better inside the distance prop. Again, Nina's was plus 100. Rebecki's is minus, I want to say, hold on. Let's have this load so I get it right. Minus 145. So actually not as much as I initially thought. I'll throw it to you in this one. Talk about this fight and then talk about how Rebecki and Nina compare.
Yeah, this is either my second or my least favorite fight on the card. Really the same similar worries as that first fight. I like Nina. I think she's just the better fighter everywhere. I think she's probably going to want to keep it on the feet, though. And at $9,500, I just don't think the pace is going to be high enough for her to pay that off without an early knockout. I mean, Cowan could get knocked out. It wouldn't surprise me. But I just don't want to pay $9,500 to find that out. So I'm looking at this as a pass. I'm not really trying to pay for Cowan either. I might move her to a 1-star, Nina to a 5-star. And Nina would just be specifically an ownership play if I got to her. But I would rather pay $100 more for Rebecki, who I think has a higher pace, more takedown equity, and more finishing equity. So that might lead me to Xing out Nina. But the more lineups I make, the more viable she would be. I am fine Xing out Cowan, though. I think she is just an okay athlete, but not really UFC material, and I don't see any single advantage for her, especially over in Serbia.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm definitely Xing Cowan. I mean, she's 7-5 as a pro, 0-3 in the UFC, been finishing her last 2 fights. It's time to find a new career, is how I look at it. 34 years old. You got plenty of other life to figure out something else to do. Nina, definitely better wherever the fight goes. I actually think I prefer Nina to Rebecki. Now, the reason for that, not in a vacuum. It comes down to, I think Nina will be less than half his own. You could be talking about 1/3 of the ownership, and she's 100 less. But she has wrestling upside. She has submission upside. Like we see, she's now open plus 285 by sub, now plus 200. I think there is multiple takedown upside on the side for Nina. And if that's the case, I mean, 3 takedowns, a second round submission, 15% ownership or something. If she does outscore Rebecki, you will have a lot better chance to ship with a lot less fewer people than if you just play Rebecki instead. So I think as a way to get different, plus 100 to finish for Nina, plus 145 or minus 145 for Rebecki, plus 285 in round 1 for Rebecki, plus what was it for Nina? I just had it up. Let's see. Plus 285 in round one for Nina has a better, holy cow, is that right? Nina plus 230 in round one. Rebecki plus 285. So yeah, Nina's round one prop is better than Mateusz Rebecki's on this slate. To be honest with Rebecki and the pace he can push and mixing in takedowns, a late second round finish is actually probably better for him. But yeah, I actually didn't even know that coming into this because Rebecki props weren't fully out. So yeah, give me Nina as my preferred play. Definitely over Cowan, but I do like her more than Rebecki. Again, it's mainly the ownership discount. She's 100 less, and she can wrestle in this one as well. So I have more interest in Nina than you, and I think she gets the win in this one. How much does she score, obviously, and what others do is the question if she ends up optimal or not. We're going to keep it rolling to the biggest favorite, like we just talked about, and the highest price. Mateusz Rebecki minus 700. Kyle Prepolec plus 505. Minus 200 for this fight to finish. Rebecki minus 145 inside the distance. Prepolec plus 575. Rebecki round one plus 285. I mean, I hate to like rip on these guys because they would all beat my ass, but another guy that needs to find a new job is Prepolec, man. 0-4 in the UFC. Just cannot figure it out. 18-10 as a pro. He's 36 years old. Rebecki has had a lot of very difficult fights as of late. I think the UFC finally giving him a little alley-oop to get back on track after all the hard fights he's had. So I think Rebecki rolls. I just talked about him just as much as Nina in that last fight, though. It's a pricing thing. He's still going to get ownership. Yeah, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, definitely Xing out Prepolec in this one. He's tough. That's the best thing to say about him. But this is definitely a get-right spot for Rebecki. He's lost 3 in a row. They're like, all right, we need to throw this guy a softball. Let's give him Kyle Prepolec, let him go 0-5. Then we'll give him the pink slip. But, I mean, I like Rebecki in general. His wins, he has scored 104, 122, 111, 92, and then he scored 60 twice in a loss, almost 3 times. So I just love this guy's pace. He's going to have every edge in this fight. He's going to be the better wrestler, better grappler, better striker, more power, higher pace. The only thing I don't like is $9,600 salary. Once you get over $9,500, it just gets a little bit harder to make the optimal lineup because you're counting on either cheap underdogs to win or multiple underdogs to win. I do think with 14 fights, that is more in play. So I will get Rebecki exposure. I'd even be fine with him in like a single entry if I could afford it. But I'm not going to force him in at $9,600. I'd be absolutely okay going down to Leka for $900. I don't know that I would want to leave that $900 on the table, but if that $900 gets me up to another underdog that I like more, then I'm absolutely cool with that. So for me, it's going to be Rebecki or pass. We'll see how much I end up getting of him, but I feel like he is going to just roll through Prepolec and score 110 or so.
Are you taking 110? I just said, I tell you right now, he scores 111, his second highest that you mentioned. Are you taking that?
I'm taking it a good amount. I would say I'd want that in 30 to 40% of my lineups at least.
So about with the field if you know he scores 110.
Yeah, I'd say so. If I know he's scoring 110, maybe give me a little bit over the field just in case. But there are a couple other people I think can get up there with him. But I think he has the third highest ceiling on the slate.
Were you surprised to see that his round one prop was worse than Nina's?
Yeah, although he's plus 200 on the other sites. So
all right.
Bet Online has the worst line.
Yeah, I do think Bet Online's the sharpest though. They put out the lines and it's a lot of copy and paste and stuff from these other books. But yeah, that's fair. I see DraftKings has it plus 200. Yeah. And it has to be a lot of, like you mentioned, Prepolec's toughness. A lot of that is baked into that number. Whereas Cowan, I mean, she's 7-5. She can fold at any time. So that's the reason for that. But again, I think you almost at 9,600 with Rebecki's pace and wrestling upside. To be honest, you probably do want it to get outside the first round if Rebecki's just beating his ass and he can keep pouring it on him. And you always cheer for that buzzer beater finish if it's outside of the first minute for obvious reasons to accumulate 8 points. All right, we'll keep it rolling. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. Like button and subscribe button helps us out a ton. And remember, 10 a.m. Eastern is the start time. So early Saturday, late Friday, make sure to get your teams in. Next fight on the card, Bogdan, Grad, -190. Dennis Buzukja, +165. -120 for this fight to finish. Grad, +185 inside the distance. Buzukja, +300. In terms of line movement in this one, Bogdan Grad opened -250. Got as low as -160. Then he took a little money after that to -190. So quite a bit of line movement in this one. I'll let you take it away to start. What do you see?
Yeah, I am, I'm fine getting rid of the underdog in this one. I really just don't care too much for Buzukja. I don't think that he's a high-paced fighter anywhere, and I'm not a Grad guy, but I really don't give Buzukja any edge in this one. I think Grad is going to be more of a wild man, which will bring him more aggressiveness and a higher pace. I think he has more knockout power, and Buzukja just got knocked out a couple months ago as well, which is not going to help. I give Grad the wrestling advantage. Maybe if anything, Grad could blow his load early, and then Buzukja could come back and beat him late. But I don't know that he would even score enough points if that's the case, especially if he's getting rolled through in the early half of this fight. So for me, I am okay with Grad exposure. $8,600 is a pretty solid price. So I want some Grad. I'm not going to get to too much Buzukja, if any. The higher owned he is, the more likely I am to X him out, even if I was making a lot of lineups. So I think this line should be a little bit wider. Give me Grad or pass.
You play any Buzukja if you had 20 teams or less?
Nah, 20 or less, I'm Xing them out.
Damn, you got some balls. Buzukja is actually my preferred play. The reason for that, everything you're saying, I totally agree with. But I think it's the right matchup for Buzukja in the sense of Grad will push the pace and force Buzukja to do something. And again, he was -250 to start. I want to say it was -250, or was it 230? Let's see. -250 to start, and now he's -190. So a lot of money on the Buzukja side, and that is including since Tuesday when this line opened. He's also, so 7,600 as a +160 dog, +165 is solid money line. Then you look, or solid money line value. Then you look at Buzukja inside the distance, +300 inside the distance at 7,600 is definitely good. It's 25%. So 25% chance Buzukja wins this fight inside the distance. And most of those wins, I'll take any finish win, but I would say 90% plus of his finish wins are probably optimal at 7,600. So for that reason alone, I'm definitely playing Buzukja on a slate where I have some underdogs I have interest in, but I don't love many, a good amount of big favorites. On the Grad side, again, I prefer Buzukja in this fight, but Grad, anytime you average 4.22 takedowns per 15 minutes and push a high pace like he does, you always have outs at the optimal, and him being 8,600, I do think keeps his ownership in check a little bit, with some people going to others in the mid-tier and others around him. So solid fight to target. The underdog Buzukja is my preferred play, but I am fine with some Grad. This is, I think, the most we've disagreed to start a card in a long time, but I like it. Again, Big Marley and I do not talk any fights or share anything before getting on this show. We have our own process and our own stuff, so that's what you guys should like. You don't want to ever, in my opinion, any sport, any show, if these two people or three people or whatever say the same thing based on any take they have, that's probably not the right show to watch, in my opinion. So we will see. It's either going to be me or Big Marley at the top of the leaderboards. Just kidding. I wish it worked like that. More than likely, we're both not at the top. It's hard. But when you win, how much do you win is all you care about in the DFS streets. Let's keep it rolling to a fight I'd have some interest in. We got Borislav Nikolic -185 taking on Mark Vologdin +160, -115 for this fight to finish. Nikolic +155 inside the distance. Vologdin +400. Nikolic in round one +375. So this was originally supposed to be Vologdin versus Josias Musasa. Out is Musasa, in stepped Nikolic, and not every day do you see the short notice guy making his UFC debut is the favorite, and that is what we have here with Nikolic. He's 33 years old, 16-2 as a pro, has finished 15 of his 16 wins, 7 by KO, 8 by submission. Some of them have been in the championship rounds. He's fought 5 rounds before. I actually am impressed with this guy. I'm excited to see what he does in the UFC. He pushes the pace. Good at striking, good on the mat. And I just think he's better everywhere than Mark. So I have a lot of interest at 8,400. I think he is one of my favorite plays on the slate. in the mid-tier. I'll be hoping he gets a finish. I plan on being overweight. What about you?
Yeah, I like Nikolic here. On the Vologdin side, I like him more than Buzukja just for the pace alone, though. I'd rather pay that $200 more to get him against somebody coming in on short notice. I don't think he gets completely blown out in the first round either, like I feel like Buzukja could. So I prefer Vologdin to him, but I like Nikolic to win. So I don't even know how much Vologdin I want to get. I think Nikolic is probably a better striker. I don't like that Vologdin's eaten 300 significant strikes in his 2 fights in the cage. I think that's going to start to wear on him at some point. I don't like that my mom is taller than Vologdin. Nikolic, I think, could knock him out. He's a neck grabber too. I think he could submit him real quick if he grabs the neck. I was just impressed with this guy. I thought he brings the fight as well. So if you add that with Vologdin's pace, I think we got a pretty decent chance of Nikolic scoring 100 or so points in a win. That's what I'm going to take. I think it could be a knockout or a submission. But even in a decision, I wouldn't put it past Nikolic to score over 10x and have a chance at the optimal landing. So I want to be overweight on Nikolic. I will be underweight on Vologdin, but I'm not going to X him out with 20 or less like I probably would Buzukja.
Yeah, I like that, man. He's shorter than my mom at 135 pounds as a man. I mean, I guess 5'3" short. No doubt about that. 5'9" is really tall. Is Nikolic for the division too? I'll be keeping a close eye on how he looks on the scales, but yeah, 6-inch reach advantage or 6-inch height advantage. He has a whole lot of upside, in my opinion, in this one. On the ground, on the feet, I just think he's a better fighter everywhere. I prefer, obviously, Buzukja to Vologdin. You guys could have guessed that. I don't have much interest in Vologdin. With that being said, the higher owned Nikolic is, the more interest I have in Vologdin. But I do think the mid-tier is good enough where this fight gets, like you see right here, Todorovic and Valentin, minus 400, mid-tier fight. Jancic, Gugan, minus 325 to finish, mid-tier fight. So just naturally, those fights are going to get a good amount of ownership. So I don't think Nikolic's ownership gets too out of hand. So I don't love Mark, but high-paced fight, like you said. Maybe I am just completely wrong on Nikolic making his UFC debut. Maybe he's just not as good as we think. If Mark wins, he probably should score solid. So I'll have him in my pool, but Nikolic I definitely want to be overweight on and is my pick to win. What's up, Kenny? Great to see you. Again, shout out to you. I think it was like 8th place in the PGA streets, 55,000 I think it was. So congrats to you at the championship. And I know you, Ricardo, and Matt K have the UFC final coming up in a couple weeks. And you have the MLB. So, man, what a summer and what a good month for the man Kenny over there. Not a great, probably not great for the wife. I'm kind of joking, but I know you mentioned you're trying to get out to all of them, but with 2 kids at home, it's a little tough for the wife taking all this stuff, but that's awesome. Oh yeah, and Sheets too. Shout out to Sheets. He won a 5-man tiebreaker in the MMA streets last week with a 3 from Thomas Peterson. So Ship It Nation rolling up to the MMA championship. Good luck to you guys. That'll be a lot of fun. All right, we'll keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, Michael Oliveira taking on Oban Elliott. Oliveira minus 355 inside the distance. Elliott plus 285, minus 220 for this fight to finish. Oliveira minus 175 inside the distance. Elliott plus 650. Oliveira in round 1 plus 150. Man, those props are phenomenal. So there has been some line movement in this one. Oliveira open minus 275. Shortly after, like 15 minutes later, was minus 450. Then we had some money come back on the Oban side. And then for the inside the distance prop, Oliveira opened minus 155, now minus 175. For the round 1 prop, Oliveira opened plus 190, now plus 150. 9,200, I think he is one of my favorite plays on the slate. I think he can outscore Rebecki, he can outscore Nina. You're getting a 400 and a 300 price decrease. This dude's scary. I mean, all the props are moving in his way, finishing, money line, all of that. I think 9,200 is value when it's all said and done. I don't know. I'll let you talk about Elliott. I guess if he wins, I feel like he has to wrestle. So at 7K on a card, I don't like too many dogs. Maybe for that reason alone, I keep him in my pool. But yeah, I think it should be Oliveira.
Yeah, I like Elliott more than Buzukja. So I'll keep him in my pool. If he wins, he's going to have to wrestle, land I would say more than 3 takedowns, 3 or 4 takedowns at least if he's going to win. But he is a well-rounded fighter. I just don't like Elliott's pace either. But yeah, I mean, Oliveira is my pick for sure. Oliveira is nasty. This guy is dangerous, man. He's just got a ton of offensive firepower. He can bring a pace unlike Elliott. I just think that he's going to end up smoking Elliott on the feet. Probably get a knockout at some point. But I would worry about him spending time on his back, maybe getting taken down multiple times, starting to slow down as well. At $9,200, those are my worries. But I would rather have him at $9,200 than Nina and save that $300. I'd rather have him at $9,500 over Nina. So I think, I think we're getting some value at 92. And I think this kid is the real deal. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the UFC. And I think the UFC is giving him a pretty good test for his first step up too. I think that's a good sign. So give me Oliveira. I want to be overweight to him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do against a guy like Oban Elliott. If he can knock out Elliott, especially in the first or second round, man, sky's the limit for this guy. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. We have a couple guys making their UFC debut coming up that are exciting fighters. Yeah, Oban Elliott at 7K, just looking at it. For the fighters that are around him are cheaper. Prepolec, toast. Hailey, Cowan, toast. We'll get to D-Rod later. We'll get to Tybura later. Urbina, Jan. We're going to get to a lot of these guys later. So maybe I'll circle back and see where Oban ranks amongst some of those other really cheap fighters. But from the ones we've already talked about that are cheaper, Cowan and Prepolec, I mean, you guys can guess it. Clearly, Oban is my preferred play over those guys / girls. All right, next fight on the card, another big favorite, Vlasto Cepo, -160, taking on Gilbert Urbina, +289, -1,000 for this fight to finish. Cepo, -285 inside the distance. Urbina, +315. Cepo in round 1, -200. And he opened -110 in round 1. So we're talking line movement. That is a whole lot of line movement. And yeah, I said Oliveira, one of my favorite plays. I think in a vacuum, 9,100 point per dollar Cepo has to be up there, top 3 on the card. I mean, -200 in round 1 is absolutely wild. The fight's -1,000 to finish. Cepo's a great play. And with all that being said, I think Urbina is an elite play himself. You only have it at 1 star, and I get it, but Cepo is going to be high owned, one of the highest on the slate due to his money line and his price. And this fight's -1,000 to finish. Under 1.5 is -260. Urbina, money line, +289. Urbina, inside the distance, +315. Almost every win for Urbina is a finish, they're saying. And to make things even better, there's a clear path, in my opinion. Cepo is a striker. If Urbina gets the fight on the mat, Urbina is super live for a submission at any time. So I like Urbina a lot. I like Cepo a lot. I'm going to have a bunch of this fight. What about you?
Yeah, I started it out as 4-star for Cepo, 2-star for Urbina, but I changed it to the 5 because Cepo is going to be my favorite play on the card. I think he's going to get a quick win bonus. Give me a Cepo knockout in the first 40 seconds of this fight. He's just going to blitz Urbina, and he's going to throw combos with a hell of a lot of power that I don't think Urbina can handle. So I think it's a first-round Cepo knockout, and he's going to score over 100 points. The worry would be that Urbina can weather the storm, and I don't think Urbina will even be able to get takedowns while Cepo's fresh in that first minute or two. So I think it would be Urbina weathering that first, 2-minute storm and then getting takedowns, plus Cepo starting to slow down. But if that's the case, Urbina has 110-point upside himself. So I definitely am fine getting Urbina exposure, but I'm going to be starting most of my lineups with Cepo. And then after I get enough Cepo exposure, get all the lineups I feel like I like with him, then maybe I'll start some Urbina lineups and get other favorites in instead. But this is my favorite or second favorite fight on the card to target. Give me Cepo to score 127 points with that quick win bonus.
Man, you're probably wondering, how the heck did I go from Oliveira, Elliott to Cepo, Urbina? And I can't even actually answer that fully. I mean, I'm going on fightodds.io, but even then I skipped over Ludovic Klein and Musayev. So, yeah, maybe I am going crazy. I appreciate you just rolling with the punches on that one. Maybe I got so excited. It's one of my favorite fights on the card. Second highest, most likely to finish at -1,000. So I apologize. We were just talking about this Cepo Urbina fight, as you guys probably figured out at some point. But I skipped 2 fights. So I like this fight a lot. Ideally it would be overweight Cepo, overweight Urbina. I think Urbina is a very good play. I mean, Cepo will be one of the most chalky on the slate. Almost all of Urbina's wins will be optimal. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot for sure. All right, let's circle back to the right bout order that we're going in. Ludovic Klein and Tofik Musayev. We have minus 255 for Klein, plus 211 for Musayev. Plus 110 for this fight to finish. Klein plus 215 inside the distance. Musayev plus 350. I'll throw it to you right away. What are you doing in this fight?
I'm not really sure about this one. I'm kind of I'm okay with doing whatever in this fight. I do like Klein as the winner. I just think he's the more talented striker with more tools in his toolbox. Either guy could mix in wrestling. I would give Musayev maybe the like one punch power edge, and then maybe, the power wrestling edge as well. But Klein has turned into a decent wrestler himself. So I kind of toss it up. Either way could land 2 or 3 takedowns. Either guy, could land 2 or 3 takedowns. Either guy could get an early knockout. But if this fight goes to a decision, I just don't think either one of them is going to score well. And then Musayev would have a better chance of being on the optimal lineup if he were to get his hand raised. So my pick is Klein to win. I don't love $8,800. I would rather go down to Leka for 100 less or find 300 to get to Cepo. But I'm okay. I'm not going to X him out of my lineups. I'm okay getting Klein, especially if I can get him with Leka and with the Cepo. And then Musayev, he's probably my favorite underdog that we have talked about so far. I think the line might not be wide enough. I favor Klein a little bit more than this. I just think he's a better all-around fighter. Musayev, I think, is towards the end of his career. We've probably seen the best that he has to offer. And if he's not able to take down Klein multiple times in multiple rounds or just one punch knock him out, I think Klein rolls, especially in rounds 2 and 3. So give me Klein to win 29-28, probably not score 10x. And this fight's probably not on the optimal, but I'm okay getting exposure to either side.
You think Klein wrestles?
I doubt he gets more. I would say I'd give him more than a half a takedown prop. I don't know if I'd go a full 1.5 though. Maybe like right at 1.
Klein's dust if that's the case. I mean, 8,800 money line's not great. Inside the distance plus 215's bad relative to others in the range. Plus 500 round 1's bad relative to the others in the range. If he's not wrestling, I think he's stone dust. So I don't like Klein. Musayev my preferred play just naturally for that, but I think he loses. I think it goes the distance. Musayev at 7,400 is fine, but that's about all I have to say in this one. This is probably my least favorite fight on the card in terms for DFS. All right, next fight on the card. Let me make sure actually I'm going in the right order. All right, we have really good fights. Let me find it on. Yeah, it's all the way down here. We have Noah Gugnan and Milos Jancic. We have Gugnan the favorite at the cheaper fighter by 200. The favorite at minus 113. I'm just going to call them by their first name. Milos minus 107, minus 325 for this fight to finish. We have Milos at plus 120 inside the distance and Noah at plus 160. Round 1 props plus 300 for Noah. Man, I'm getting all these names confused. Milos is plus 300 inside the distance. Noah is plus 350. So, I mean, it's a really close line fight, but it wasn't at open. So, Milos opened minus 500 in this one. And then 6 minutes later was minus 150. And then slowly but surely, Noah continued to take money. But this opener was way, way off. Minus 325 inside the distance for this fight to finish. Both guys making their UFC debut. I think this is going to be a very fun fight. You can see that by just the inside the distance props alone, plus 160 and plus 120 right there in the mid tier at 8,200, 8K. I think you just absolutely load up on this fight. Don't have a strong lean on who wins. I hope you do, but I'm just going to play a lot of both and hope it's optimal. What about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I really don't have a strong lean either way. I picked Jancic to win. I just feel like he's a little bit more well-rounded, but both of these guys have finished all of their wins. They're just going to be – I think it's an action-packed fight where either side is going to have a decent chance at scoring 100 points. And right at 8K, that we're going to need that. So I feel like I'm just going to be throwing a lot of money into the pot in this one. Give me like 40% of each. I want to load up on this fight. I just don't know who's going to win. I would imagine I'll end up with more Gugnan because he's $200 cheaper, and that can fit a couple more lineups that I won't be able to get with Janicic. But I'm just going to look at this as a fight I want to target rather than a fighter I want to target. And I'll load up as much as I can. If ownership was skewed one way or another, that would change my mind. I would rather have the lower owned guy. That would be the one thing that could really sway me, would be ownership. But I think it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said right there. I prefer right now, again, I don't have a strong lean on the winner by any means. So when that's the case, give me the fighter that's 200 less, since I can build any Milos team, drop Milos and go down to Noah, forcing myself to leave 200 plus. With that being said, if the ownership was like 35 versus 25, I would take the 10% discount that way. So totally agree with you. I think it's a great fight. I think someone is getting finished, and I think whoever does win scores well. So I will have a bunch at 8,200 and 8K. Now we're back on track. Already talked about the Cepo fights. 4 fights left on the card. Robert Valentin and Dusko Todorovic. Valentin minus, let me find this, minus 160. Dusko plus 140. Minus 400 for this fight to finish. Valentin minus 120 inside the distance. Dusko plus 200. I'm not going to lie. I was a little surprised to see this fight for Valentin being the favorite. So he was minus 130. Yeah, I guess it stood around there. I don't know. I can't figure out why it got to like minus 225 for 1 second. But minus 130. And he's slowly taking money throughout the week. I just don't really understand, man. Like, I guess I'm not really too impressed with Valentin, and Dusko, I mean, he's a punching bag. He's got a big noggin. He's defensively irresponsible. With that being said, though, like, he can grapple. He can strike. He's fought in the UFC plenty of times. I just don't get why he's a plus 140 dog. I mean, tell me what I'm missing in this one.
Just really his durability and Valentin's finishing ability. I think Valentin could choke him out or knock him out in the first round, and he's on the optimal lineup. And I think if this fight ends in the first round, Valentin's getting his hand raised. But I think Todorovic is the better minute winner in this one. So if he can avoid getting finished in the first round, the longer it goes, I think the harder it'll be for Valentin to get the finish. And I picked Todorovic to win a decision. He could also knock out Valentin. He is a pretty decent striker offensively. I just worry about him defensively. So I started this as 4 stars Todorovic, 2 stars Valentin, because I'm picking the underdog to win. That's typically how I do it. But if Todorovic wins, I think he could score 70 points. But if Valentin wins, I think it's probably more than 90 points. So I put it for 3 and 3 for that reason. And he is only $8,500. I like that price tag for all these favorites. So I have it as a 3 and 3 because I'm okay just kind of donating to the pot again on this fight, getting both sides of it. But since I haven't really loved too many underdogs yet, now is the point where we're going to start getting to my guys. Todorovic is going to be an overweight play for me. We got a couple others coming up as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to get it twisted. Like, even though I disagree with the money line, I am playing Valentin because when he does win, Dusko's probably getting knocked out or submitted or something, and only 8,500 for Valentin in a fight minus 400 to finish is obviously good. I mean, his round 1 prop also good, plus 200. Opened, actually, where is that right there? Yeah, he's plus 200 now. He opened plus 225 in round 1, which is actually pretty good as well. Dusko in round 1, though, is plus 425. Like, that's good for 7,700. Dusko's my preferred play. He's my pick to win. I like that he's 800 cheaper, but I do like Valentin. And again, mid-tier strong in this fight. This fight, the Milos Noah fight that we talked about, and then Nikolic Vologdin, I think, is a pretty solid mid-tier fight as well. So, yeah, I will probably be having at least one of those fights in majority of my teams. If I had all 3 in the mid-tier, I'd also be good with that as well. 3 fights left before we go talk about the 3. Let's head over to our Ship It Nation homepage. Look at this beauty. As you can see right here with the banner, usually $99 for our all access special, which gets you SaberSim, Discord, and access to all of these sports. Now only $49 for the first month. All you got to do is click that banner. Bottom left, join the nation. You can see multiple other options as well. 5 days for $19. Gets you SaberSim and access to the Discord. That'll get you PGA, MLB, MMA, and NASCAR. A great time to sign up. All the way to the far right, you can see single sport options as well. If you just play MMA, you can click MMA. $29 a month, $49 a month if you do add SaberSim. We definitely would love to have you over here. Join the nation again is how you get in. Definitely do get in the Discord if you do join the best MMA community around. No doubt about that. 3 fights left. The second of 2 heavyweight fights. Alexander Rakic taking on Marcin Tybura, minus 350 Rakic, plus 280 for Tybura, minus 155 for this fight to finish. Rakic minus 120 inside the distance. Tybura plus 625. Rakic in round 1 plus 250. So it opened plus 300 round 1 for Rakic, now plus 250. He opened plus 125 inside the distance, now minus 120. He opened minus 250 on the money line, now minus 350. That's a lot of line movement coming in on Rakic and all 3 different props. The problem with Rakic is the dude just never does anything. Like, he's good, he's talented, but he won't wrestle. He'll stay on the outside, jab, leg kick. I mean, Tybura is 40 years old. I shouldn't call him fat, but he's a little chunkier. He definitely has no six-pack or anything. I mean, you see Rakic and Tybura in a bar, you're going to be picking Rakic. I think he should own Tybura. It's just, is he going to come out aggressive is the question. Now, I go based on line movement a lot. I go based on odds. Plus 250 in round 1's 28.6%. I do not see Rakic being 28% or greater. So I guess naturally, by default, I'm probably going to be overweight Rakic, even though it doesn't feel too comfortable knowing his past. How do you see this fight going?
Yeah, I think Rakic is much more talented. He's the much slicker striker, but he's coming up to heavyweight. Who knows how he's going to look there? He's got chin issues. Tybur's going to be bigger. He's a decent striker himself. And I think that Tybura would have the wrestling advantage in this fight too, as the heavier guy. So I think that it's Rakic first round or bust at $9,300. I just don't see him working takedowns against Tybura. And I think if this fight makes it out of the first round, it's just going to be hard for him to pay off that $9,300 price tag and beat all the other high favorites that we want to get in our lineup. So I'm okay getting Rakic for that first round knockout equity, but my preferred play is Tybura. He's only $6,900. I think that he could win minutes, really all 3 rounds if he wants to. I think the striking could be close. He's not as fast as Rakic. He's not as skilled, but Rakic does not always show up, and he's not an active fighter a lot of the times in the cage. So I think Tybura can keep it close minute-wise on the feet, and I think he could look even better if he were to look for takedowns and keep a lot of heavy top control time in this fight. So Tybura, $6,900. He is my preferred play, but I put it as a 3-3 again. Same reason as the last one. I think if it's a first-round knockout, it is Rakic. But if it's a decision, I think the underdog has a much better chance at being on the optimal end.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I still think Rakic is my preferred play since I just think I don't see him losing to Tybura, but the odds are the odds. I trust him. A lot of that, again, has to do with Rakic getting a lot of line movement on every different angle. And again, plus 350 down to plus 250 in round 1. That's a good amount of line movement. And I do not see him being 28%, more like 20%. So when that's the case, you're able to play more chalk around it. That's a way to get difference. Yeah, it's kind of like a plug your nose type of play, but I'm going to be playing Rakic. I'll play some Tybura, though, at 6,900 as well. 2 fights left, co-main event time. Navajo Sterling minus 310, Jan Blachowicz plus 252, plus 140 for this fight to finish. Navajo plus 170 inside the distance, Jan plus 550. Navajo in round 1 plus 400. And when you just say those odds and everything, plus 140 for this fight to finish, garbage. Plus 500 or plus 400 in round 1 for Navajo, garbage. Like, he's a striker, as you can see. He is a high-volume striker. Jan's 43 years old, but I will say he's better than a lot of 43-year-olds. I mean, it's easier when you're up in the light heavyweights and heavyweights where the fast twitch, your reaction time means a lot less, your cardio and all that. He can hold his own, the Polish powers. So I think Navajo probably wins a decision. And if he wins a decision, he is not going to get there at 9K. So I guess by default, Jan Blachowicz is my preferred play. I don't like this fight, though. Maybe this is my least favorite fight.
Yeah, I have it as a 3-star, but I'd be okay with it being a 2-star because I am picking Sterling to win a decision. I just think he is the better striker. He's going to be faster. I think at this point, he's 15 years younger. He probably has more power and durability as well. But I'm really never looking to play 43-year-olds. But at $7,200, I'm all right getting a little bit of Blachowicz. I think he could mix in takedowns in this fight. That is where he would be winning minutes. But the Polish power is still going to be there. He could knock him out and have 100-point potential that way. So I'm not going to X out Blachowicz. I like him more than Buzukja.
Buzukja's going to win. You better change your mind on that.
I'm fucked if he wins, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think Sterling could knock out Jan in any round and possibly end up on the optimal. So I'm not going to X him out either. I'm okay getting a little bit, but there's guys I'd rather pay less for than get up to Sterling. So I have a feeling this will be mostly a fade fight for me. I think Sterling wins, probably scores 75 to 80 points and doesn't cut it.
Yep, I think this fight busts as well. All right, main event time. This one should be pretty fun. I'm excited. Uros Medić taking on Daniel Rodriguez. Minus 400 Medić plus 315 is D-Rod. Minus 1,500 for this fight to finish. Minus 375 inside the distance for Medić. Plus 375 inside the distance for D-Rod. Minus 115 inside or in round one for Uros Medić. I mean, I guess first of all, D-Rod, I mean, I don't necessarily, believe his story. So he went to jail in Mexico. He crossed the border with 27 grams of marijuana, and he just said he completely forgot about it. Like, I know you and I have definitely smoked a fair amount in our day, and so has D-Rod and plenty of other people. But I'm not sure you just randomly forget 27 grams on you. Hey, with that being said, who knows? 8 months in the Mexican prison. He was released. Didn't Kevin Holland bail him out, right? Was that a true story?
Yeah, I feel like I did see something like that.
Think he wanted to rematch him or something after that, and he bailed him out. I don't know. Just absolutely crazy. But with all this being said, it's a 39-year-old D-Rod and a 33-year-old Medić. You have more stars to D-Rod, so it sounds like you're picking him. I definitely am not. But yeah, I'm all ears. Take it away.
Yeah, the line sold me on this one. And I also started this one 3 stars for each fighter. Similar reasons as the other ones. Medić has a lot more early finishing potential. He is the faster fighter, the more explosive fighter. He's dangerous. He's really nasty offensively. But he's just one of those guys that can fall apart. The longer the fight goes, the more I expect him to fall apart. And D-Rod is going to be the better boxer. He can keep up a pace, I think, for all 5 rounds, even at 39 years old, coming out of prison. I'm sure they got some good steroids in Mexican prison, to be honest with you. So I just think the line's a little bit too wide. I don't trust Medić at minus 400 against anybody, especially anybody who just beat Holland not too long ago. So I think the line should be a little bit closer. If D-Rod does win, I would imagine it's a late TKO, and he's absolutely on the optimal lineup if he gets his hand raised. So I'm picking D-Rod at $6,800. He's going to be my most owned underdog on the card, and that's what's going to help me afford all the favorites that I really want. That's why I don't need to get all these other underdogs that I said I'm going to pass on. So for me, it's going to be Rodriguez and Tybura are my cheap plays. And then if I don't have them, it's going to be a lot of mid-range lineups for me. And that's kind of how my slate will go. I'm not going to have 150 on this line on this slate. I'll probably have more like 10 or 20, and I'll stick to a tighter core if possible. But I'll be hoping D-Rod pulls it off, and hopefully I'll be on a ship of my own if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm not going to be on your ship if you're shipping unless I get lucky. I build over here with SaberSim, put in our stuff, play a lot of lineups, and diversify in a high variance sport like this. So it's possible. I'm not Xing out D-Rod or anything, but if I'm on the winner and you see Tybura and D-Rod and all this, it was one of these lucky lineups that I will not take any credit for because I'm definitely on the Medić side. Yeah, D-Rod, he's going to be owned because he's a main event dog. How owned? I guess we'll see. More than likely, I'll probably be underweight. But I do agree, if he does win, he almost surely is optimal with the high volume that he is. But I think he gets starched in the first or the second round is not optimal. And then it comes down to Medić, 9,400. He could score 106 and that not be enough. So I do like Medić a lot, but he's going to naturally get 5-round ownership boost. And I think there's plenty of other 9K fighters around him that have just as much upside, even if Medić does score 106. So another main event you can definitely fade. And that's mainly, again, because Medić 9,400, 107 might not be enough. D-Rod wins, almost surely optimal. That's all 14 fights. I'm definitely excited for this one. Wake up Saturday morning, grab a coffee, whatever you may do. 14 fights of violence in Serbia. 100K up top, like always. Always good talking fights with you, Big Marley. Again, we will be live again next Wednesday. So mark your calendars for that. But final thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like I ended this one with a lot of hot takes. Maybe we won't have as many hot takes as next week. But my final thought is please don't win, Buzukja. But good luck to you, Tito. Good luck to everybody listening. Let's ship it.
Good luck, everybody. Hope you all have a great weekend. Be safe. Get some extra little cheese in your pocket. We'd love to have you at the Nation. Multiple different options. Head on over. That's going to do it for us. For my man, Big Marley. I'm Titletown. Good luck. Be safe. Peace.